Hello and welcome along, everybody, to stage 14 of the Longines Global Champions Tour. And take a look at that setting, the breathtaking backdrop of the legendary Circo Massimo, one of the grandest stadiums of ancient Rome. This iconic venue, which witnessed chariot races and gladiator contests 2,000 years ago. Fast forward now to 2024, and we move the contest to world-class show jumping. This is GCTV. My name is Mark Lewis, and you join us on yet another warm afternoon in the Italian capital of Roma as we get ready for yet another 500,000 euro Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Roma. We are ready to unpack the scenario as to what today means. This late in the season, on stage 14 of 15, we are inches away, moments away from storylines being defined, for stories being wrapped up. But as always, there are consequences, there are moments that will take place today that will have an impact on where those stories go. We will talk about Max Kühne and this championship win that he is searching for. We will talk about Christian Kuckuck and this championship fight that he is trying to drag Max Kühne back. We'll also talk about Sophie Hinnes and the outstanding LGCT season that she has had, and she may well find herself on an overall podium at the end of the season. We will unpack all of the scenarios, all of the circumstances later on today. For now, though, let's take a moment to flash back to Valkenswaard and remember that outstanding performance of Lorenzo De Luca.
The 13th Grand Prix of the season. Edwina Tops Alexander rides in. Go double clean. No, there goes the front rail. This horse has never won a 5-star Grand Prix in its career. Has the day now come? Harry Smulders and Monaco NOP. He's out of the combination. Here comes Smulders with Monaco NOP. He waits once. He waits to find the fitting distance. He gets home on double clear and he takes the lead. Lorenzo De Luca. The blink of an eye between the two of them. The blink of an eye between the two of them. De Luca for his second win. He doesn't add a stride. He gets there and he's quicker. He's quicker. Lorenzo De Luca has done it. Lorenzo De Luca is leading the Valkenswaard Grand Prix. Hendrik von Eckermann with Glamour Girl. You recognize heroes. But there is the fault, and Lorenzo De Luca is going to the Super Grand Prix in Prague.
It means a lot, like a lot. Good. Thank to all my team, the owner of the horse, and we made the biggest Grand Prix victory very special. The horse deserves so much. He's jumping so good and he deserves to be on the top.
That performance of Lorenzo De Luca. Freddy Tabaka saying in the commentary that he has indeed now secured himself a golden ticket to the Super Grand Prix at the GC playoffs in Riyadh later on this year in November. The question now is who's going to take the 14th ticket and the final ticket to come in Rabat in a couple of weeks' time before we have our Super Grand Prix lineup confirmed. The best LGCT Grand Prix riders of the year all going head-to-head in that Super Grand Prix at the playoffs still to come. What is the impact of Valkenswaard? What does the table, the overall ranking now look like off the back of the results of Valkenswaard? What we have done is to try and move this storyline along. We have grayed out the riders inside the top 10 that mathematically no longer have an opportunity to win the Longines Global Champions Tour in 2024. Now, if you recall, only your best 8 scores count. So if you're wondering why Gilles Thomas at 185 is grayed out, it's not because he cannot score more or less than Jana Fredrika Meyer-Zimmermann. It's because from a top 8 scores perspective, Gilles Thomas with a maxed out score can no longer catch Max Kühne on 234. And whilst it might be unlikely of Eduardo Alvarez Asna from 162 to catch Max Kühne, mathematically, a win here today for Asna and a win in Rabat would see him overtake a score of 234. Yes, we are talking probability versus likelihood, we understand, but mathematically, those 8 riders in white have the opportunity still to win the overall Longines Global Champions Tour title. But of course, we know that most likely this battle is going to go down between Christian Kuckuck, between Max Kuhne. Those have been the two favorites all season long, and they now today go head to head. We hoped for that storyline in Valkenswaard. It wasn't the case, and now finally here in Rome, it is indeed the case. The question now is, what does each man need to favor themselves? We bring Ed Holloway back into the show today. Ed, welcome to the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Roma in 2024. We are already talking about Max Kuhne. We are already talking about Christian Kuckuck. I know that there are circumstances that we need to discuss. Talk to me about what lies in wait for the top riders here today. What are they hoping for? What are possible outcomes, Ed?
Thank you, Mark. Yes, it's fascinating this afternoon's Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Rome, because Sophie Hinner, she's 26. It's her debut Longines Global Champions Tour season. She was fourth in the Grand Prix in Riesenbeck. And if she was to have a top 5 finish this afternoon, she'd go into 3rd place in the season standings, really poised as we go into Rabat. Christian Kuckuck was 2nd in London. Whatever he does this afternoon, he can't win the season, but he can put pressure on Max Kuhne going into Rabat. And Max Kuhne, he leads the standings coming into Rome, and a top 9 finish mark this afternoon would win the season for Max Kuhne. But he doesn't have his top horses. He brings a 10-year-old EIC Julius Caesar, so it's a tall order, but maybe he can clinch the season standings this afternoon with a top 9 finish. So a lot to play for. We can't wait for the Grand Prix.
All right, Ed Holloway, thank you very much, giving us some perspective as to what is to come. We'll come back to you in a few moments, Ed, for some course walk reaction. But just to confirm there that a top 9 finish for Max Kuhne wins him the 2024 Longines Global Champions Tour title. But there is no Up to Jacko Blue here in Rome today. Perhaps not feeling, he suggested, Max, that wasn't feeling 100% after Valkenswaard. So EIC Julius Kaiser comes in today. A top 9 finish for EIC Julius Kaiser. Is that possible? What an outstanding storyline that will be. The question now becomes, what does a top 9 look like? How many get into the jump-off? Does one fence down get Max Kuhne inside the top 9? Does 2 fences down get him into the top 9? We know, arguably, that if he jumps clear in round 1, that should well be the story. So that is the goal. Max Kuhne, EIC Julius Kaiser, go on and jump clear, and arguably you may well to go on and win the LGCT title today. Let's give you their perspective. What is Christian Kuckuck saying? What is Max Kuhne saying? Here are your 2 top title contenders giving their thoughts on LGCT Grand Prix of Rome.
Christian, when did you feel that chasing down Max Kuhne becomes a reality in the LGCT title?
I knew that Max had a very good season in general. I was sure he will be somewhere high up in the ranking. And, I mean, I also had a good summer, so that's why we end up in a little battle. But it's not only about us. There's a few ones behind us, and I'm excited for Rome, for the next battle, and definitely for the final in Rabat. But let's do first Rome, and then we see.
At the moment, we are in the lead still with some points ahead. But Christian is close to me. I think he has only 7 results to count at the moment, so he doesn't need the top placement.
What makes Max Kuhne such a dangerous competitor?
Oh, well, I mean, he's very consistent, and he has a super strength of horses. He can change horses from week to week. There are 15 stages to jump, and you need 8 results, and to have 8 very good results, that's more than 50%. You are not able to do it with 1 or 2 horses. You need more than that, and that's what makes him very strong.
I hope to bring Up to Jacko here, but unfortunately he's not with me here. I have 2 younger horses with me here, EIC Julius and EIC Anton, both 2 very good horses, but young and not so much experienced. Christian has Just Be Gentle here and Mumbai, so 2 very experienced horses. Yeah, will be exciting.
What makes you so dangerous?
That I'm very focused on that ranking. that I also had a very consistent year, and that I have just be gentle here.
If I don't have the strongest horsepower at the moment here because of the two young horses I bring here, I still have a chance in Rabat. And Rabat, I still have the chance to bring EAC up to Chaco or Electric Blue.
So I will push myself to at least 100% in this weekend, and I will try my very best. And then whatever comes out in the end, I will accept, but I would like to accept to be better than him.
If Christian will overtake me here, I will still fight for it in Rabat to take it back.
There is so much to unpack there. It is the humility of Max Kuhne, realizing and acknowledging that perhaps the horsepower is not here in Rome, acknowledging that he may well lose the lead, but if that is the case, he can still go on to win it in Rabat. You also think about the season that Christian Kuckuck has had, fighting a championship in the Global Champions League with Razorback International and fighting a championship as an individual. And of course, having that golden summer as well, you realize the expectation, the amount of work that Christian Kuckuck has put into this year to put himself in that position has been outstanding. Christian Kuckuck jumps 18th. Max Kuhne late to go, 33 in today's start lineup. Now, let's talk about the course that's been designed. Once again, we go back to Ed Holloway. Ed, talk to us about what Uliano Vizzani has put together here today for the LGCT Grand Prix of Rome. I expect it to be big. I expect it to be challenging. Ed, tell us what you got.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, we look at the course now of Uliano Vizzani for the penultimate leg of the Longines Global Champions Tour for the Grand Prix here in Rome. It's a fearsome track set by Uliano, max height 160. They start up down towards the in-gate fence. One is already 150 by 145. They then spin back to a very tall vertical. It's an airy 4 poles that busts at 155 and then down on 6 strides this skinny Global Champions Oxa. Fence 3, 155 by 160. But then straight away into the max height 160 green leaves vertical. That is fence number 4. They then turn into a massive line. The treble bar, the vases, is 190 wide and 5 quite short strides down to the first combination, the Villa entrance. They enter, it's 155 tall at 6A. 1 stride out over 6B, that is 155 by 160. They then turn to the Lugano vertical. That is fence number 7. And then down to the line just behind us, the orange Oxa. Again, it's skinny. It is about 2 meters wide and again 160 in width and 3 strides down to the orange flowers. Again, it's max height at 160 with the water tray below it. It's a Liverpool. But then I want to have a look now at this combination. It is the Longines treble, 10, A, B, and C. They come after fence number 9, and as you'll see, it's a very tight turn. It's in effect what you call a hairpin bend from the mountains, and this is the real meat of Uliano Vizzani's course, the Longines treble. This Oxa is fearsomely big. It measures at 155 by 160, but it looks at all of that height to my eye. And the interesting thing is, once they've jumped this, it's huge. They'll land about here. The distance is measured is 11 meters and 10, but if you walk it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see that 2 strides brings horses right to the foot of this Ox, the Bellman. So it's quite a short 2 strides, and I think that's really tough on a compressed distance. Then they land. This is okay once you've jumped this middle part. They'll land here, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4 of my strides, 1 horse stride out over this vertical that is 160 again, max height. But once you're through this line, you're not done, because then down to the in-gate is the plank. It is the blue marble plank. It's 160 tall, and that is a devilish location because it's right by the in and out gate. So this is an unforgiving diagonal. And then back to 11. And they're still not home because they'll then turn into the end of the course. And there's a massive Colosseum Oxa on the VIP side. It's 155 tall, 160 wide, water below. So horses could be looking at the foot of the fence as as they take off. And then it's 4 strides down to another skinny fence, the third skinny on Uliana Vetsani's course. Is the final fence, the gate at 13. And again, it's massive at 1.60 m. So I think it's an awesome course. The questions coming early. This triple bar to the first combination walks really tough. And this mid-course treble combination is just fearsome. And then the plank at 11 is just one of the questions. The riders think it's very big. We'll have to go, Mark, to the first round and see how it jumps. It's a massive test for the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix here in Rome. We are set for an awesome afternoon of world-class horse sport. And the question is, can Max Kuhne seal the season? He needs a top 9 finish this afternoon to wrap up the season one leg ahead of time. Back to you, Mark.
Ed Holloway, thank you very much. Appreciate the feedback, appreciate the reaction. It is looking and sounding enormous. Flospis Jones standing by in the ring with David Will to get some thoughts on what Uliana Vetsani has put together. Floss, Ed is talking about how big this looks, how scary this looks, and I would love to just get some perspective on how enormous these fences are for today's LGCT Grand Prix of Rome.
Thanks, Mark. I might be small, but it definitely still is super big out here. And I've got David here, who is particularly interested about the middle section of the course. So he's going to talk us through just why is that middle section so tricky today?
Oh, I think the middle section for like 7, 8, 9, 10 ABC is very tricky. We have a very, very airy Oxa number 8, only 3 poles in front, skinny, single colored, so very difficult for the horses to jump. And then 3 short strides directly after. So it's a big effort to get over 8, but then you really need to stay sharp and focused, only 3 strides to the next one. And then we have the triple combination, Oxa, Oxa vertical, 2 strides, 1 stride. And that's always very tricky for the horses because they need to stretch over B still. But at the same time, they are already thinking, I need to do a short stride after. So they need to do both. They need to finish the Oxa and immediately wait and not wait too early. So that is a very tricky part in my mind.
That's really interesting, because how do you then ride that with your body language, with that kind of big Oxa and then sitting up for the short?
Yeah, I think it's very important that you are very balanced with your body, that you keep your horse in front of you, and then you have to know your horse very well, how much support you give it over the Oxa in the middle. Like, you don't want to rush it for number C, but also like you want to give the horse the right amount of support to finish that Oxa well.
Very technical jumping today then. My question is, have you walked the jump off course yet, and what's that like?
Of course, we try to always walk it, so there's no surprises with the distances. I sadly had 2 down in the qualification yesterday, which means I'm quite in the beginning of the course, and chances are, if I make it to the jump off, that I'm like maybe first or in the very beginning. So it's better to know the strides. I cannot watch anybody. So yes, we did that, and I think it's a very interesting jump off course as well.
How many do you think we're expecting in the jump off today with a course like this?
I don't think an awful lot, like a quarter would be around 10, but I'd say we get a little bit less, maybe 6 or 7.
Well, let's see. Fingers crossed you're one of them. Thank you for joining us, David, and we'll see you later.
Thanks so much.
Mark, this course is going to be one to watch. There's 500,000 euros up for grabs, so let's go and see the competition.
Thank you very much, Flospis Jones. David Will, not expecting many clears into that second round. What will be the final number? We'll find out. Let's also pay special attention to Sophie Hinnes, a potential top 3 position by the end of Rome today with a really strong place finish inside the top 5. Let's get to know Sophie Hinnes a little bit more before we get underway.
I started very early. I started with 3 years old, riding ponies, doing little shows. But I have to say, first I wanted to be a dressage rider and no jumping rider. So when I started with my pony, I also started with dressage, and then later on I switched to jumping. My mom, she just rode when she was young, but nothing professional. But my cousin, my aunt and uncle, they were really into horses, and that's how it became that I went into the equestrian. I'm from North Germany. We went on many national shows, and then of course you were always watching the bigger classes on that show. But what I have to say, who I always look up to is Markus Ening. His riding and his horsemanship is amazing, fantastic. It's almost impossible to describe that. I'm very calm and I'm very adjustable. Like you can sit me on any horse and I get the feeling for it in a very short time to grow together with them. I also grew up like this. I rode so many different horses, and like this is also a strength to have that feeling and to know horses very fast what they like, what it's good for them or what they don't like.
When did you begin to realize that 2024 was becoming a very special season?
It started maybe, of course, in Doha at the first stage. So then I got to know Sinclair better. I think I did him 3 shows before I went there. And there I started to jump in a bit bigger classes. When I figured a little bit out how special he is and how good his jumping is, then of course I knew there's a special time coming for us. He's an unbelievable horse, but at that moment I always knew, okay, you never know how long you can keep him, because he is for sale. At one point he will be sold. But then, they came that amazing opportunity for me that Deborah Meyer, she bought him. So now he's an Iron Dame Sinclair, and that was a very special moment for me. So I knew I can continue with him, and I was hoping and also knew a little bit that there will be coming a very special time for us. It's so cool to look at all the experienced riders and to learn a lot from them. We are all very blessed to be here and to compete with them together and to talk to them and to try to get more knowledge. This is something really cool. I think the whole season is more like a dream. I never did this level before, so I also wasn't really sure what is coming for us. But now, since we are a bit in the end and I see that we got a few points and there could be the chance to be in the top 3, now the pressure is a little bit more on, and but I still try to just focus on my rounds, I hope I can still gain some points, and that would be something fantastic, really amazing.
Can Sophie Hinners jump into the top 3 of the overall rankings? Can Christian Kuckuck take this championship fight to the butt? And can Max Kuhne, on a younger horse, finish inside the top 9 to give himself a chance at winning the championship today, depending on the results, of course, of Christian Kuckuck? But that is the goal for Max Kuhne, inside the top 9, and it opens up the possibility of winning the championship here in Rome today. This is GCTV. This is the beautiful city of Rome, and this is the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Roma. Let's go enjoy the action live.
Good result this afternoon to try and keep the pressure on Max Kuhne and take the battle to Rabat. These riders, Eduardo Varas-Hasna, are looking for valuable seasons points this afternoon, with some below him that are missing from Rome. The battle intensifies in this magnificent city. 38 combinations come forward to the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Rome. And we take you around the course of Uliano Vetsani, the first round of the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Rome. It's a long course, just 20 meters short of half a kilometer for 80 meters. And the time allowed is 77 seconds. They will start up over the Violet Ox at 150 tall by 145 in width, down towards the in-gate. Again, distraction factor, a reality. The bust vertical at 2 is 155 tall, and then 6 strides down to a skinny Global Champions Oxa. It looks really imposing. The first max height fence on Uliano's course is the Green Leaves vertical at 4 at 160. This line looks fearsome. The Vase is triple bar, 190 in width, and then 5 strides down to the first of 2 combinations, the Villa entrance double. I'll jump over this massive triple bar. And I think it's quite a holding 5 strides down to the combination. 155 tall, the vertical in. 8 meters 10, it walks between elements. 1 stride comes up nicely. It's a big oxer at 155 by 160. Then they'll come back past the in-gate, and this is a very sharp hairpin turn. It really is acute to get back to fence 7, and Lugano sits at 160. Such a big fence off such a tight turn is a fearsome double test. And then down to another skinny ox, the second skinny on the track. That is at 8, 155 by 160. And then 3 strides down to a massive Liverpool. 160 over the water is the Orange Flowers. But this diagonal looks fearsome again. 10A, 155 by 160. And to my stride, it's quite a short 2 strides down to the oxer at 10B. That, I think, is a holding 2, 155 by 160 again is the middle oxer. And then 1 normal stride out over a 160 vertical, exiting at 10C. The line's not over, it's a little dog leg right-handed jink. And down, it's a devilish location right by the side of the in-gate. It's again 160, it's a plank, it's the blue marble vertical at 11. I think that's going to fall down time and time again. And this, the final line. The Colosseum oxer over water on the VIP side is massive, 155 by 160. And then 4 strides down to another skinny. That is the Aqueduct Gate, again 160 tall. There's the final fence of 13. I think it's a fascinating test from Uliana Vetsani. We have the best in world show jumping here this afternoon, so it must be very testing from this man. Renowned as one of the finest course designers worldwide. When he was a show jumping jockey, he piloted horses for none other than Luciano Pavarotti. 38 combinations, and Malamudolo Zanatelli won the 2nd class on Friday. He starts us off. Dennis Lynch, a former European team champion, has got a young horse, Mr. Boombastic, at 10 years of age. John Whittaker, 6 Olympics, is number 10. And then Nina Malové and Michael Penda in their early 20s, 2 exciting riders for France and Ireland. There's the Olympic champion, 2nd in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of London with that horse. And Julien Paillard, he won the Super Grand Prix in Prague last year, has Dubai du Cèdre. Sophie Hinners has got a great horse, and 4th in Riesenberg's Grand Prix. Iron Day, My Prince, and Max Kuhner, season's leader, has got a late draw with his young horse EIC Julius Caesar. What an ending. Simon de Lestre has his Olympic ride from Paris. I Am Lucina R51 as the penultimate. And the last to go is a very talented rider for Luxembourg, Victor Behlendorf, and a 9-year-old mare, Foxy de la Roque. Well, we're all very excited for this afternoon. €500,000 is the prize purse. And the winner of this afternoon's Grand Prix will qualify directly for the Super Grand Prix in Riyadh later this season. There's Roger Boss and Michael van der Vleuten taking in the scene, because they both have 2nd half draws. They're just going to learn from the early starts of the draw in this, the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Rome. The Colosseum not far away. Circus Maximus alongside us here. Welcome to the historic, iconic venue of Rome, and we settle down. She's going to have a little lunchtime nap. I hope she'll have an espresso soon. Superb to have your company. Welcome to the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Rome. The curtain raises to the sounds of the mighty Carmine Burana enters the first of the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Rome. Wonderful to have your company, ladies and gentlemen, here on GCTV. Myself, Ed Holloway, delighted to bring you this highlight from the Italian capital. €500,000 the prize purse, 38 combinations of the finest order of world show jumping. An impressive 18 nations on our start list. 6 nations have multiple starters. 8 for Germany, 6 for Italy, the home nation, 5 for France. Ireland have 3. And Sweden and Denmark, the Scandinavian nations, with 2 each. And 12 nations with sole representatives this afternoon. I think it's a fearsome course of Ulyana Vetsani. It walks big, it looks imposing, treacherous lines. I think few and far between clear rounds will be achieved on the first round. It is that demanding. But the man to get us underway, former Pan American double gold medal winner from Lima 2019 with Sirène de la Motte, and a Tokyo Olympian. He won the world ranking class, the second 5-star class on Friday. And he's got great Rome Grand Prix form. He was second here in 2019 with VDL Edgar M. And in 2022, like a Diamond Van Hatschek was third in this Grand Prix behind Christian Kukuk and Mumbai, who won that year. Christian, the only defending Grand Prix champion here at Circus Maximus in Rome in the field this afternoon. Malamudolo Zanotelli down this first devilish line. 5, the triple bar to the first combination, 6A and B. The Villa entrance. Silky smooth start from this brilliant rider from Fortaleza in Brazil. Now based in the north of Belgium at Excel with his wife Angelica. GB Diamantina. Only her second season internationally, incredibly. She started only at 11 years of age show jumping. So I'd love to know her story. Down to this huge plank, clears it at 11, crowds gasping. Last line for Malamudolo Zanotelli to deny the difficulties of this course. Oof, the last fence goes. Right on the cusp of an opening clear round in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Rome, and Ulyana Vetsani's final fence of 13 denies Malamudolo Zanotelli the opening clear round. It's her first week on the Longines Global Champions Tour and only her second season. What an exhibition from GB Diamantina and Malamudolo Zanotelli. 4 penalties, 73-31, comfortably inside time by 3 3/4 seconds.
A heartbreaking final fence to fall for Malon Zanotelli and GB Diamantina, who misses out on a spot in the jump-off. This demanding course from Ulyana Vetsani does not seem to give any leeway at all. How many will make it into the jump-off? Where do Kukuk and Kuna find themselves? Those are the big questions. Sign up for a GCTV live pass. Come and join us for the rest of today's Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Rome, and you can check out all the action of this €500,000 LGCT Grand Prix. That's live. Come on.